Views expressed on this program are those of the host, guests, and callers, and do not necessarily reflect the views of the station, its management, or advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
You are listening to the Power of Inspiration and Awakening Radio with Julia Griffin. To master a higher frequency for a new state of mind. Once you walked in a forest of splendor in which everything you did and everything you thought was aligned. It is possible at this time to begin to return to the old knowledge. Intuitive healer and manifestor Julia Griffin is here to talk about this unique time in history when all sentient beings, animals, plants, trees, and the earth are intent on creating this change. The wolves awakened her to the most incredible light, which opened gifts and brought knowledge that she longs to share. You are creators, and you are born to be creators of beauty, possibility, and joy. Join Julia on a journey into a beautiful and magical world where amazing possibilities exist. Let us help open the door. The Power of Inspiration and Awakening with Julia Griffin starts right now.
Hello, everyone. I'm Julia Griffin, and you're listening to The Power of Inspiration and Awakening on Transformation Talk Radio. Stay with us for the next hour and let us help you experience a higher vibration and a new state of mind. Welcome to the show. Today's guest is Sharon Lynn Wyeth. She says there's so many things that we can know about ourselves and how we approach life through our names, and we can decode a great deal about other people as well by understanding the meaning of their names. As you listen, you're going to find that this is just incredibly interesting. And Sharon is going to talk to Dr. Pat and a couple other people from the station so you can see just how accurate it is. So let me tell you about Sharon. International name expert Sharon Lynn Wyeth is the founder and creator of Neimology science, the study of the placement of the letters of the name. After 15 years of research, followed by 3 years of testing in over 70 countries, she's evaluated thousands of names since 1995. Her best-selling book, Know the Name, Know the Person, is the first in the sequence, followed by Know the Name, Know the Spirit, and Know How to Connect. You may have seen her on Good Day LA, New York City's Fox News, Good Morning Arizona, and in various other cities on NBC, CBS, and ABC, or have heard her interviewed on any one of hundreds of radio stations. Today, she is hired by human resource departments in choosing appropriate candidates to interview, lawyers and how to present cases to judges, and individuals who wish to know themselves better and maximize their ability to connect with others. She also assists nationally and internationally in naming new businesses, new products, and when people wish to change their names. Welcome, Sharon. I'm so happy to have you today. Thank you.
Julia, it's fabulous to be able to join you. Thank you for the invite.
You're welcome. So, Neimology is the study of the placement of letters in the name, but it's not numerology. I get confused about this sometimes, so tell us a little bit about how it works and what's the difference.
Okay, in numerology, you use numbers. In Neimology, you use letters. So that's a huge difference right off the bat. In numerology, you have six numbers, that come into importance. 3 come from the name and 3 come from the birthday. In Neimology, the study of the placement of the letters in the name, you're only dealing with the name. So instead of just having 3 options or 3 numbers that come from names, first, we don't have any numbers. The other thing is you have 26 letters that can be in every single position. So you get a breadth of incredible differences in one name from another name from what they're saying to you, because you have more possibilities. There's more probabilities of the differences because you have 26 for each placement instead of 6 or, well, I'd say 9 numbers. Okay, because they don't use 0. Anyway, so
right.
Just that makes a difference. And then in Neimology, and it sounds complicated, but it's actually very easy to learn because it only takes 15 hours to learn the system. In Neimology, also, what letter sitting next to what letter makes a difference. So like if you have, let's say a B, I say B's are for bigger, better, best. If it's the first letter of the name, it makes people competitive and very good at what they do. But if it's a BA, now they're learning how to be bigger, better, best. So you have to know how the letters play next to each other.
That's fascinating, and immediately brings back the thought that the very first alphabets actually vibrated, and the way that all the letters responded to each other creates different vibrations. In some sense, it's the same, isn't it? You're looking at the vibrations of the letters.
It is. And what I say I've done, and I make it sound very simplistic, even though it took me 15 years to do it, so it couldn't be that easy initially, is I literally saw the vibration of each letter and made its corresponding action and matched it up. So when you get this vibration in the letter, it causes this vibration in the action.
That's fascinating. Now, one of the things that you say is that we should forget those complicated and expensive personality tests and just look at their name. So tell us a little bit about that. I was very impressed when you did it for me, by the way, for people who are listening.
Well, HR departments hire me to shortcut the hiring process because most are wasting time, resources, and personnel reading resumes, screening, and interviewing, only to continue to struggle, to find those successful hires. So I help them hire right the first time, which saves the company money, time, and a lot of angst, I would say, while making the HR departments heroes of their organizations. So what they do is they literally send me a job description. I have to know what qualities I'm looking for. And so that's in the job description. And then I just look at the applicants' names that have applied, and then I rank them. I say, here's your number one, here's your number two. And then I'll also say, hey, don't even bother interviewing these.
Oh, that has to be very helpful.
Well, yes. And then some HR departments simply ask me to say, we've hired this person. How do we best work with them? Or we have problems between these two employees. How do we settle this? Because you can compare names and figure that out also.
Oh, that's fascinating. And I know that you said the first and the last names have different meanings?
Yes. The first name is the essence of who a person is. The middle name, if they have one, is how they can morph or change when they're under stress. And then you get that personality. And then the last name represents the environment. So you have both nature and nurture when you're looking at the name, because you can have somebody with the same first name, and we know that they're not like every other person with that same first name, and that's because they've been placed in different environments or different last names.
Right. I do think it's fair, though, to say that we all have associations with particular names. It's like when someone has a certain name and they write to me, I'll go, oh, like that's a so-and-so, or this is a Beth, or this is an Elizabeth, for example, because they're very different energies that are carried on those two names.
Well, Julia, you are so right. And I think we do it subconsciously because we feel the vibration, we feel the energy. And after a while, we realize that we resonate to certain names more than other names. And so what I did is simply make it all conscious.
Mm-hmm. And one thing that I've noticed about you, some of the things you knew about me, it has to be partially intuitive. And, I know that they say that any intuitive device that we use, it's only as good as your connection to the divine, because the divine helps us to decode it. So I'm going to guess that you get some universal help with that as well.
Okay. So, I've channeled and I've been a meditator since I was 18. So it's been umpteen years since then. And so the divine assisted me and guided me in developing the system. And I believe that's why it's so accurate, because I have seen all sorts of people in various levels of abilities to hold light and get connected, be able to read names just as well as I can once they've learned the system. Mm-hmm. Now, in a reading, I'm reading it just like I've taught my students to read the name. I think the difference comes, my intuition comes in when I'm giving the example to the individual, because everybody always goes, oh my gosh, that example is right on, just the other day, and then they tell a story. And so I think that's when the intuition comes in.
Yeah, I think so too. You communicate it very well. I would say that. So tell us this, how do names work with marriages? I know that's something else that you work with.
Well, sometimes people will call me and say, should I keep my current name or should I take his name or her name or whatever, or a combo of names? And I always say, it's for you to decide what you're choosing in your world. With your last name, this is the type of people that you're attracting to you, because your last name always says what's your environment. So that's what you're attracting to you in others. And then I'll say, if you take his last name or her last name, this is now going to be the environment of what you're attracting to you. Or if you combine the names, this is it. And so that way people have more information and able to make their own decisions. I'm not here to make a decision for anybody. I'm here to give information so that people make wiser choices for themselves.
Mm-hmm. So they make informed choices. So that's very interesting. For people who are having difficulties in relationships, do you help with that as well?
Yes, because you can compare two names, just like I do for the HR people when the employees are having problems. You can always compare two names and you can see what the issues are. There's a story, Julia, of when the very first time, I just love this story. It was the very first time I taught an entire real estate department on how to greet people and how to sell to people. And I taught the whole system to them. Okay, normally we just teach the communication styles to them. But this lady wanted the whole system taught to her people. And at the very end, I said, okay, do you guys want to learn how to compare names so you can see strengths, and where the potential problems are? And they said yes. And they chose one of the couples that was there. 3 times I asked, I said, everything comes out when I do this. Are you sure? And the 3rd time they said, yes, we have no secrets. I thought, okay, well, here we go. So I showed them how to compare 2 names, and it's simple. Once you know the rest of the system, learning how to compare names takes like 15 minutes to learn. And so anyway, I said, from his point of view, looking at this relationship, this is the perfect wife for him. This is the perfect woman. He has no complaints. He felt like he just hit the jackpot. And I said, now let's look from her point of view. And from her point of view, it's when he needs to be right 100% of the time. So when they agree, it's her 50%. And when they disagree, it's his 50%. And he doesn't bend. He's not flexible. He can never admit when he's made a mistake. And I give this marriage 12 years, and I think it's going to break up because I think she's going to get tired of that he'll never bend and never admit an error. And she looked at her mother-in-law who had hired me and looked at her husband, and the finger came out and it started shaking at them and says, this is the best workshop you've ever made us take. Are you hearing her? Are you hearing her? And so I said, well, how long have you been married? And she said 10 years. And I'm so tired of this, I can't even tell you.
Right. So let's go ahead and get ready to go to break. We've been talking with Sharon Lynn Wyeth about the importance and meaning of names and her incredibly accurate way of reading the letters in your name to reveal important information about your life on so many levels. It's amazing stuff, and she's going to look at Dr. Pat's name when we come back. So stay with us, and we'll be back in a minute.
Yeah, yippee skippy to that, baby. We're not done yet. Some of us are out here to educate and inspire. This year, 2020, is the year we gotta show me the money in the cash flow. I'm Dr. Pat. This is the Dr. Pat Show. This is Talk Radio to Thrive By.
Visit thedrpatshow.com.
Hello, I'm Carrie Kadambi, and this is your Spirited Exchange moment. Do you want to be the best you can be? Do you want to live your dream life? Anything is possible when you choose to consciously evolve. Begin by noticing your reaction to things in your everyday life. When a reaction is uncomfortable, this is a sign that there's an inner root cause that has triggered you, and it's calling out to be healed. Take action to transform and heal those limiting beliefs or trauma experiences that no longer serve you. Take time daily to recognize your reactions, and then set out to heal and release them using one of many somatic healing modalities available. How will you choose to evolve today? Join me on Transformation Talk Radio for my show, A Spirited Exchange. For more information about me, visit thedivineguidancegift.com.
Are you your story? Or can you change your story? Can you change what you believe to be true about yourself and your circumstances as part of your healing journey? What if you were to change your expectations? What if you were to invite ease and cooperation into every day and then step back and see what happens? It might just be easier. I'm Megan Edge, and I hope that you'll join me on my new radio show, Playing on the Edge, Radical Change with Ease, with my co-host Dr. Pat on Transformation Talk Radio. I look forward to seeing you there.
Want to find out more about Megan Edge? Visit her website at meganedge.ca.
I have had such a good time on Tales from the Merworld Radio. It has been an opportunity for me to expand myself so dramatically and become much braver in my voice, to speak about the things that I'm passionate about that are a little bit out there. Your staff is amazing. Olivia is amazing. Jessica, everybody. Anytime I need anything, they show up right away. So thank you for having such an amazing team that is allowing me this platform to do what Spirit wants me to do.
Hello, everyone. I'm Julia Griffin at OneTrueSelf.com, ONETrueSelf.com, and you're listening to The Power of Inspiration and Awakening on Transformation Talk Radio, where you can experience a higher vibration and a new state of mind. I'm talking with Sharon Lynn Wyeth, the founder of Neimology, a special way of studying the letters of a name to reveal your personality, creativity, and perception of life. We're going to talk to Dr. Pat after a couple questions and discover the meaning of her name. Stay tuned and we'll find out more. So, Sharon, I think you've said that we sometimes choose our name before birth. I know about 6 weeks before I was born, my parents changed the name they had picked out for me into the name I have, which I've always liked. Could this be an example of choosing your name?
Well, when there were still only 7 religions on the planet, before I jokingly say that they multiplied and divided and everybody made up their own, okay, they all agreed on 10 or 12 basic principles, depending on how you divided them up. And one of those that was everybody understood was that the incoming soul impresses upon the one naming them what they want to be called. So we pick our own names, and then it's up to our soul to get that across to the parent. So your parents simply had their own mind made up until they started feeling your impression upon them as you gave them your name.
Oh, how fascinating. So I did want to ask you, could you tell us a couple of specific combinations of letters that give specific gifts or limitations?
Sure. I love the combination ST because they have perseverance. You find the doctors, you find people that have to do a lot of studying or a lot of training in a particular field, they will have that ST because it gives them that perseverance to keep going even when it gets tough. But that every combination has both a challenge and a gift. So that's the gift side. The challenge side is they can be really, really stubborn. And the difference between perseverance and stubborn is that in stubborn, you're getting in your own way. You're stopping something that might actually be very good for you, or you're not ready to hear somebody else's point of view. You don't want to give it the time. So you get very stubborn or locked into your own position. And so an ST is both perseverance, but it's also stubborn. When combinations go together, they make something new that both individual letter doesn't have. So for an example, let's take the C and the H. The C's are very, they're controlling for themselves. They want to be in charge of themselves. They do not want somebody else in charge of them. They like to be in charge of every facet of their life. Then you have the H that says, I'm just going to go with God. I'm going to go with the flow. I'm going to get in the river and see where it takes me. Wherever it lands is good. So then you put the C and the H next to each other. Well, the C is saying, I need to be in charge. And the H is saying, let go and let God. You see, there's a conflict between those two letters. So when you see the ZH, like in the name Zach, for an example, what happens is they do things the hard way. But the reason that they do things the hard way is because it helps their memory. When something is so easy when they do it the first time, the second time it comes around, they go, oh, I just remember that was really easy. How did I do that? And they waste so much time trying to remember how the easy way was that they could have done it a different way and been done already. So instead, they do it the hard way. And then they go, oh, I remember that. That was hard. I'm going to change it up this time and do it this way differently. And so they're constantly improving, but they actually make things the hard way so that it helps their memory. So, and the other combination I really look for, like if I'm going to hire somebody for an IT or a tech position, or that's what I'm being asked to look at, one of the combinations I'm looking for is a name that ends in an N, because the placement's important, or that has an O-N on it. Because if it has an O-N, what that means is that they're step-by-step, logical, deductive, reasoning people, and everything goes in an order, and they don't skip their steps. So those are some combinations.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Well, we have Dr. Pat here, so can we let Dr. Pat talk now, and let's see what you got from her name.
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you. This is fascinating. Hi, Sharon. Hi, Julia. Thank you so much for inviting me to the conversation.
Okay, Dr.
You're
Pat,
welcome.
I have permission to read?
Yeah, you do. I'm not sure which name I should give you. I can give you my full birth name, but
Julia, give it to me ahead of time so that you can keep your privacy, and I'll just call you Dr. Pat.
Okay.
How's that work?
You know, it's interesting. I became Dr. Pat, and most people don't even know my last name now. So I'm ready to hear everything you've got to say.
Okay. Now, you know I can talk for 2 hours on a name. I'll just give you a brief sampling.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So your name says you have a tendency to be a workaholic. You work and work and work and work and work until there's just no more steam in you and you collapse. And then if you could get somebody else to go to the bathroom for you once you've sat down, you're happy to do that because you don't even want to get up for that. Okay. But you are job oriented, work oriented. So you don't want to quit if the job isn't finished. It's like, how much more can I get done? How much more can I get done before I quit for the evening type of thing. Your name indicates that you have a sensitivity to criticism, that you want to shut down and quit when criticized. And so you've had to learn how to self-talk and how to get yourself up and going because of that. It also says you're learning how to use your power of influence, but you came to be able to influence people and able to go in a different direction and do it with care and with love. And so you're getting better and better at that as you go along. It also says that if you're going to do something, you're going to do it to the best and the top of your ability. If you don't think you can do it well, it's like, well, don't waste your time that direction. I'll just, I won't go there. I won't do that. You've made yourself likable because you think it's important to be a likable person, and yet you're not going to change who you are and able to get somebody to like you. And really, when I looked at your full name, I said, if somebody doesn't like you, Dr. Pat, they really have an issue. Okay? It's their issue. It's definitely not your issue. Okay? It also says that you're highly, highly observant. You don't miss much. But the interesting thing is you will catch like 96% of what's going on around you, but then you obsess over the 4% you miss. It's like, how did I miss that 4%? What do I have to do differently to get that 4%? Why did I miss that one? Oh my gosh. And then it's kind of like you self-talk and beat yourself up a little bit because, oh my gosh, you missed 4%. Now, I have read thousands and thousands of names. Most people are really happy if they can catch 50%. So if I could make one suggestion, I would say focus on the Yahoo! I got 96%, because we all know that's a good strong A. And then be curious about the 4% you missed instead of beating yourself up over it. One of your greatest challenges in your name is to learn how to use your resources wisely. Okay, so that's money, that's belongings, that's whatever, but how do you use it wisely? And then you learn your lessons in life through relationships.
Okay, so I'm glad we're recording this. You didn't even get past half of this, and my best friend, which of course you're going to be talking with in a minute, walked in the room and gave you 2 thumbs up. But given what you said about me, if she didn't give you 2 thumbs up, I'd worry about it. You're absolutely right, though. I mean, if you, and I don't know if I have time, Julia, to share a little bit.
You do. Go ahead.
Okay. I grew up as a kid, and my mom passed away when I was 6 from suicide. My dad remarried. And I grew up as a kid with two other sisters who were near perfect, stepsisters. And so the whole criticism thing for me as a kid, it started at an early age. And then I ended up stuttering in my teenage years. So you're absolutely right about that. And I didn't think about it, though. I didn't think about why I am now the owner of a Positive Talk Radio network. My phrase is positivity rules, and fascinated by positive thinking. But you nailed it. I mean, I have had to talk to myself about, yeah, I may be stuttering, but I'm not defective. I mean, so much of what you shared, I never put together, right? About that. Yeah. If somebody else could go to the bathroom for me, yeah, I would have them do it. Basically, if somebody could sleep for me, I would have them sleep for me too, in that realm.
I'm not surprised. And you're a visual learner.
I am.
This is what's so incredible is you can look at the name. I think it made me a more effective teacher because I could look at the name and say, this is how this person needs to hear me present or has me, give them something to do or whatever, or they have to see this because you can say in the name what kind of a learner you are, and you're a visual learner.
Absolutely. And I think maybe, and I don't know about this, but I think like when you stutter as a teenager or you have, facial defects and things like that, like I did also have as a kid, you learn to really sense other things. But there's something else you said that's really important. And I'm going to think about it really long. I'm going to actually listen back. I love what I do. I never thought I'd do it. I love helping other people host their own shows, take their messages out into the world, literally see people transform in front of my eyes. My biggest complaint about that from people, especially PR people, they're like, oh my God, Pat, when are you going to write your book? When are you going to do this? When are you going to put up your own website? And I have to say, it's not the first thing on my mind. But the other thing I just want to share, and I'll end with this. I didn't quite understand what was wrong with the way I learned. I have, what is the term now? Learning different. That's our modern day term for what they used to say, learning disability. And I learned this in a doctoral program sitting next to a woman from Thailand. And I sat down and she tried to copy my statistics notes. And apparently they looked more like a comic strip from Marvel or the DC comic books. And through that conversation with her, I realized I see different. So for example, as you're speaking, I don't see your words. I literally see images and visualizations. And that's how I got through a doctoral program, not because I'm the best statistician, but because I could see the relationships of what I was learning. It's called a defect. But
Pat, it's not a defect. It's anybody with the first vowel of an A in their first name. That's where I pulled that from.
Okay.
So anybody with the first vowel of an A in their first name are visual learners. And we doodle and take notes because what we're hearing, until we can see it on the paper, it doesn't go into our brains.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm the queen of doodling. And as a matter of fact, I've doodled so much, I've actually been asked to put it in art form and see if I can frame it. Oh, my God. I don't want to take up any more of your time. This is so fascinating and insightful. And
it's a different way of seeing yourself.
Yeah. But I'll tell you one thing, Julia. One thing I'm going to do is I need to find time to play ping pong. Because if I'm sending people to the bathroom for me, man, I need to give myself a rest.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you both. Thank you both so much.
Thank you. Okay, we've been talking with Sharon Lynn Wyeth about Neimology, the science of reading and understanding names. Sharon just told us about Dr. Pat, and she'll tell us more and look at some more people in the station and share some incredible insights when we come back. Let's go to break now.
Tune in to The Truth is Funny with Colette Steffen each Wednesday at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com. This hit show will have you thinking outside the box and riding the wave of infinite potential. Join Colette on the Higher Self Network, inspiring listeners to shine their brilliance and ensure success while roaring with laughter as they recognize the humor of the giant cosmic joke. Visit thetruthisfunny.com.
Yeah, yippee skippy to that, baby. We're not done yet. Some of us are out here to educate and inspire. This year, 2020, is the year we gotta show me the money in the cash flow. I'm Dr. Pat. This is the Dr. Pat Show. This is Talk Radio to Thrive By.
Visit thedrpatshow.com.
The Truth is Funny. Shift Happens with Colette Marie Steffen is excited to welcome Karen Benton as a monthly guest host. Tune in on the third Wednesday of each month at 8 a.m. Pacific Time to regain confidence and trust in your capacity to create change in your life, your health, your family, and your well-being. Karen Benton is a mother, nurse practitioner, certified body talk practitioner, Franklin Method instructor, and owner of Limitless Living LLC. For more information about Karen, visit KarenBenton.com. Is traditional medicine not working for you? Do you still feel as if your health isn't 100%? Here at the Holistic Medical Center, Dr. Nushin Darvish and the qualified staff look through the dimensions of wellness and start a healing plan prioritized to your needs. Our physicians assess the whole you until complete health is achieved. Get the help you need by visiting drdarvish.com or call 425-451-0404.
Do you sometimes feel overwhelmed by your mind? Powerless when it seems to spin in worry circles or bombard you with self-critical thoughts? Do you want to learn how to master your mind and feel more in control of your life? Listen to Dr. Friedman's Empowerment Radio. Shift from confusion to clarity, self-doubt to confidence, and from anxiety to peace and balance. Dr. Friedman and his many guest experts share the insights and tools you want to live with greater ease, joy, and purpose. Tune in to Empowerment Radio every first and third Thursday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time.
Conscious Confidence Radio, a timeless wisdom with Sarah Main. Tune in each month on Transformation Talk Radio and join Sarah on an adventurous journey to the deeper level of meaning to move beyond today's world of constant change, confusion, and uncertainty beyond the shadow of fear. This hit show explores key concepts such as confidence, values, and attitude in a dynamic way. To learn more about Sarah and her work, visit sarahmain.com.
Hello, everyone. I'm Julia Griffin at OneTrueSelf.com, ONETrueSelf.com, and you're listening to The Power of Inspiration and Awakening, where you can experience a higher vibration and a new state of mind. I'm talking with Sharon Lynn Wyeth about Neimology, a special way of reading names which reveals their meaning, our approach to life, and harmony and dissonance or challenges and gifts within ourselves. She just read for Dr. Pat, and she's going to talk to Linda and Jessica from the station as well. So stay tuned. It's incredible information. So, Sharon, before we talk to Linda, let's talk about how it works in the outer world. So, for example, if I was looking for an employee, let's just say as a VA, what would I look for? Would I have to write a description and then you would look for names that work with mine?
We could look at it that way, or you put out what you're wanting, and then when people apply, you just send me the list of the names, and I'm looking for those qualities. And then I can give you an overall percentage of how many of those qualities and how well are they going to do those qualities. So like one of the HR departments I work with, he's always saying, and what's this one's percent? You know?
Oh, interesting.
And if I don't give him a 90 or higher, he goes, I don't know. And I said, hey, I think 80s are good, you know? Because everybody improves on a job and they're not going to come in perfect because they don't know your system, you know? So start with somebody who knows how to learn and that already has aptitude in your areas.
So what's your success rate with this? Just curious.
About 4 months ago, I asked every HR department that I had been working with 5 years or more, to rate me and say, how has this been helpful? I want to say that I've never been fired by an HR department once they've hired me. So I think that says a lot. However, I asked everybody to look at their hires. And the whole point is to get a win-win, that you've got the right person in the right job so that you don't have to keep retraining and rehiring. And the person loves their job, so they want to stay and they're happy doing it. And it's in the 90 percentile. The majority of them came back at around 94.
Wow, that's incredible. And I was thinking as I was looking at all this information, it explains why someone who calls me and says, oh, I have the perfect VA, and you work with them, but they're not perfect for you.
Correct.
This is the vibrational.
Right. And sometimes people, you can get the best recommendation, and then you get them and you go, what was that person seeing? I don't get it. But the expectations can also be different. So that's why I always say, give me the job description so I know what traits I'm looking for while I'm looking at the names. Because what I may want, if you didn't give me a job description, you just gave me the title of the job, may be very different than what you want that person to do versus what I think that job is.
I've got you. Okay, that's pretty neat. So everyone who wants to hire, we'll tell you how to get in touch with Sharon at the end of the show, and you can do it. But let's go ahead and talk to Linda.
Good morning.
Good morning. So I'm going to let Sharon tell you about your name now, and let's see if it's accurate.
Okay, I'm ready.
Permission, Linda. Do I have your permission to read your name?
Absolutely.
Okay, here we go. You are all about family. Family is the most important thing to you. They take up all your time, all your attention, the good, bad, the ugly, the fabulous. Everything is all around family. That's your main concern. And you wanted to come in and learn about relationships, to get your lessons to relationships, but you wanted to major in family relationships. You are an auditory learning. So what I'm saying really fast, I can talk really fast to you and you would get every piece of it and it would all go in. Okay. You are very inclusive. You want to be included and you want to include others. So if Julia and I are going to go bowling, and let's just say you don't like bowling, then we would say, hey, Linda, do you want to come with us? And you go, no, but thanks for asking. And that's exactly what you'd mean. And it doesn't matter if we are going bowling for the 100th time and you have told us 99 times, no, you don't want to go. You still want to be asked and have that choice, because when we include you, it lets you know that you're wanted, that you're cared about, and that you're loved. Okay. And so you attempt to do that too with other people. You're always letting them know also by including them, okay, in what you're doing. So like if you were going to the kitchen, you would say, guys, I'm going to the kitchen. Anybody want anything while I'm there? You're very, very inclusive and very kind that way. You have a lot of self-confidence. You would make a very good administrative assistant or an administrator where you can be the one in charge and you can run everything. But I say assistant because I think sometimes you don't want the head responsibility, even though you're absolutely capable of doing it. You also have made yourself very likable, though you're not going to change who you are to get liked. One of your greatest challenges in your name is that you've got to watch your knees. Okay, that's the medical thing that comes up in your name because your predispositions to medical is also showed up in the name. So you want to take care of those knees. So watch when you're getting in and out of a car that you're not twisting your knees every time you're doing it, which is putting extra pressure on your knees. Also, you're very organized, and you're very organized where you can put your hands on anything, not necessarily that somebody else can follow your system, but it doesn't matter. It absolutely works for you. You've got in your name that you have both religion and spirituality. So it's like you've grown from a basis of religion and it's grown into spirituality. So that's just some of what your name says.
Well, that's pretty amazing. Because you pretty much nailed me.
Besides the fact that you're brilliant. And you do your best work when you're stressed.
I do the best work when I'm stressed?
Yes, that's when your absolute brilliance comes in.
Oh, boy. Well, that's probably very true, too.
So my suggestion for you would be make yourself a false deadline. Give yourself, therefore, false stress to meet the new deadline, but your body will know it's not real so that then you're not causing stress in the physicality.
And I force myself to, okay, when I get an idea, and I need to do it, I I've tried to say, well, okay, it's not critical. You can do it a month from now or 2 weeks from now. That doesn't work. I can't get it out of my brain, and everything has to stop, and I have to do it right now.
Okay, so part of that is it's a fear in your name that says, if I don't do it now, I'm going to forget that I need to do it, or I'm going to forget some of my ideas on how to do it. So my recommendation on that is have paper and pencil around you all the time. So when you get an idea, you write it all down. I need to do this, and here's how I want to do it, and here's all my ideas. Or you talk it into a tape recorder, and so you've got all of it, and then that'll let go to that stress that you have to do it now, because you know that everything's recorded for you, so it'll click into the memory again later when you do get to it.
Great idea. Great idea. Thank you.
So this is the
Linda's going to agree. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, the coolest thing is every challenge that comes up in your life, the solution on the easiest way for you to solve it is also written in your name. Every single one.
Okay, that's interesting. So I can
that is
interesting about that too. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're so welcome.
So for the people who are listening, you can see how much fun this is, how it heightens your perception of who you really are, and how it gives you solutions to problems. So while we're right here, Sharon, would you share your website for people who are listening and want to go there right now?
It's knowthename.com. So if you're someplace where you cannot write it down right now and you go, oh, I want to remember that one, I want to know the name of that website, you go, oh yeah, that's it. It's Know the Name. And a website's going up in just a week. We've been tweaking it. It's a totally different approach to a website, and that one's going to be called thenamelady.com.
Oh, I love that. Okay, let's go ahead and get Jessica on, and let's let everyone see you doing your magic with her as well.
Hi, I'm here.
Hey, Jessica.
Hello.
Sharon, do you want to fill us in?
So Jessica is absolutely brilliant. She can see inside the box, outside the box, in the corners of the box, upside down, at anywhere direction, because there is no box in Jessica's world. Everything is a possibility. She is a kinesthetic learner, so she learns by doing things. She also wants to know everybody's background. She wants to know what's making them tick, what's their background, what's their history. And people come to Jessica all the time and ask her to solve their problems. It's like, Jessica, can you figure out what should I be doing with this or that or whatever? Because Jessica is a wonderful listener. She also has a great sense of humor. She's very, very smart. She has intuitive thinking, so she's naturally intuitive. That's in her name. It also implies that at the beginning or early years, she might have been a little afraid of intuition or not knowing what that is or how to use it. But as she gets older, she thinks that that's normal. When she's learning from somebody else, it's like she wants the teacher right there next to her while she's learning. And then, because she doesn't have any patience for an answer, because her brain thinks incredibly quickly. So then when she's done, though, catching on to just the foundation or just the basics, it's like, okay, go away. I got it. Leave me alone now. Thank you so much for your help. But now you're sitting too close and I don't want to be micromanaged. Jessica wants to be in charge of herself. She doesn't want anybody else in charge of her. What I think is really interesting is all three people you have given me, their names end with an A. And so I'm going to say the same thing to Jessica that I've said to Linda and to Dr. Pat, and that is you're very likable. But again, you're not going to change who you are and able to get liked. But that's where I'm reading that. And so, Jessica, you have been taught to stand for yourself and hold your own. It's like your upbringing says, you know, when you've got an idea, don't let somebody else talk you out of it. You've got to go forward and just run with it. And you know, if you look at how Tom Hanks in the movie Big, he got into that limousine and he had to touch everything and feel everything and see how it worked. And Jessica's the same way. It's like, what's the texture? If that picture's crooked on the wall, she's going to walk by and straighten it out. She wants to feel everything and know how everything works. And when you see Jessica, I'm sure this is really difficult for you, Jessica, without the hugs and everything. I hope you're giving people elbows or whatever the thing is, because you are a touchy-feely person. You want to hug. You want to be physical. You want to be active. You want to be athletic. So that's some of what's in your name.
I had to cover my mouth because I started to laugh hysterically because, I mean, you were so right on with the other two, and I was like, man, I can't wait to see what you say about me. And I'm sure Dr. Pat and Linda are just rolling right now because you absolutely nailed it. That's exactly who I am. Every single thing you said. especially
right.
the
And
patience thing.
she does these incredible hikes. So the part about being athletic, we all know, is right on.
It's in her name. She has to be. Her health depends on her being active. If she ever decided just to be a couch potato, like Pat could be a couch potato, her health stays perfect. But if Jessica decides to be a couch potato, her health would fall apart right away.
Interesting.
You know,
so Jessica, do you have any questions?
You know, the thing that points out to me, and I think it's probably one of the biggest things we all know about me, I'm sure Dr. Pat and Linda are laughing, is the patience thing, because I was almost dying when you said that, because that is exactly how I am. As soon as I learn something, I'm like, okay, I got it. Leave me alone. Get out of here. I just need to do my thing. Don't bug me. And I think I need to probably work on my patience a little bit. Any advice for that?
Well, your name says not to work on your patience because that would slow you down and your brain works too fast. Instead, it's while you're learning something, whoever's teaching you, tell them up front, the minute I catch on, I love your help, but the minute I catch on, I'm not going to want it anymore. So if you know that ahead of time, I don't want to hurt your feelings when I say, okay, I got it, goodbye. That's what your name says to do.
That works for me.
Right, so that way the person expects it.
These things are so amazing. Here's the interesting thing about it to me is, you know, most of the time you have to want to change or you have to want to improve your life. But if you're open to the meaning of your name, just that perception can alter your life, right?
Yes. And like I've told you you know, when we're not on the radio or whatever, is that approximately half the people that I do a reading for will tell me either on the line or later and say, oh my gosh, you're changing lives. And I really think the power of Neimology science is it so identifies who you came to be and what your strengths are and what your challenges are and why you're here and what your purpose is and how you intended to do it and how you intended to solve the challenges that came up, that it literally gives people permission to be who they chose to be before they came. And I think then they changing their life to go back into giving themselves permission is what makes it effective.
So it creates alignment with the soul personality that came in when you were a baby. It sort of goes from all the events that you passed through with your life and who you are in the moment and who you came in to be. It creates alignment between those 2 points.
And I think it reduces fear because to me, fear is simply a lack of information. And you get so much information in a name reading that the fear dissipates. And so that you're giving yourself then the freedom to go forward.
That's fascinating. I mean, it's like it's just so interesting. There's a wholeness that comes from it. I mean, I can feel it when you're reading for them. And I felt it when you did it for me. It's a really nice and wonderful resonance.
Well, the other thing that I love about it is I start the first time anybody has a name reading with me, I start with, why did you pick that mom? What did you want to gain from having that mom? And why did you pick this dad? And what did you want to gain from having that dad? And whether the parents were wonderful or the parents were challenges, it doesn't really matter. You come to an understanding of why you did this to yourself. You know, positives and negatives, because nobody's all negative and nobody's all positive. So it's like saying,
definitely.
You know,
I definitely think that as you go through inner growth, you realize you may have lost energy in a situation or it may have been painful, but it still was part of becoming who you are. When you change your perception of it, the event almost feels as though it changes.
Yes, exactly. Julia, you so hit it on the nail.
Yeah, because when your energy leaves the event, you can see it and you can feel it somewhat, but it's not like watching a charged movie anymore.
Right.
Because a part of you is saying, oh, that's why I did that, instead of, oh, that's why this happened to me. It wasn't fair. So it immediately changes you from victim to someone who's conscious and aware and is a creator, in my opinion.
Well, it's empowering.
Yes.
You know, it's very empowering. And the other thing is, like, illnesses or potential for illnesses sit in the name. And if you know then, hey, you gave yourself a potential here because you gave it to you because you chose to learn it, or it comes in through the last name, which means you chose to clear it for the family and stop that DNA from progressing all the way through. either way, it empowers you because you know why you created that potential. So when you get it, you don't go, oh my gosh, I'm a victim. Look what happened to me. Instead, you say, oh, I chose this because I wanted to learn this, or I wanted to clear this. And it keeps you in the position of power over your life.
That's so amazing. And I love all of your insights. So for our listeners, tell them once more how they can contact you for greater understanding of the self, exploring relationships, and or creating a successful business.
The easiest way is to go to the website, knowthename.com, because you can even schedule your own appointment, or you can write me directly at info, short for information, at knowthename.com, and give it another week or so, you can try our brand new format, which is called thenamelady.com.
It sounds wonderful, and for people who want to go more deeply in this, she also teaches classes, and you can find out about those at her website. So stick with us if you want to hear more interesting shows like this and learn how to step into your power. You can sign up for my weekly newsletter on my website, onetrueself.com, onetrueself.com, and receive many tips about the energetic weather, self-development on the spiritual level, and finding a higher vibration. So just go to my website for that. And I want to thank you for tuning in to the Power of Inspiration and Awakening show, where you can experience a higher vibration and a new state of mind. Please join me on the second and fourth Wednesdays of every month at 12 noon Eastern, 11 Central, and 9 a.m. Pacific. Have a great week, and I'll see you back here in a couple weeks.